You're on, Max. Hey Max, you alright?
Yeah, all good, man. How's it going?
Yeah, not bad. Just to let you know, as always, we're on private at the moment, but I'll make it public once we're on formation up.
Cool.
But they can play this back.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I'm glad that GGJ's got a bit of a challenge this week.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just guaranteed to win to them.
Yeah, at least with Vincent here, it's going to be a close battle.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a miracle he's come back anyway. 200s, jeez.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to watch.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh fucking hell! Yeah, she's actually qualifying. Well, yeah, of course she can't exactly. I mean, she can sit out one shot, but it's no point. She's a bit of a rain mistress by the looks of it.
Yeah, looks it. But if you didn't read my DM, I have to go at like 7:30 to practice for a championship.
Are you racing tonight?
Oh yeah. Basically, my dad's doing this like 6-round championship, and there's cash prizes. I want to take one over my dad. So.
What's it on ACC?
No, it's on Grand Prix 7.
Oh right, okay.
It's like a new update today, like the GR2 Audi, I think it is.
I've seen him do a bit on Grand Turismo.
Yeah, he used to do it, but now he's actually like coming back to it. So it should be fun.
Well, if there's money on the line, it's always worth a go.
Oh, of course. The main attraction tonight. Little grieved, aren't we? Both Ferraris are out this race, good. Who's in the Ferraris? It was,
Oh, sugar, yeah, of course, because Bennett's running late and Demspecky's... Yeah, Bennett and Demspecky are running late tonight, so Bennett's in the Mercedes. Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ, I just saw Alpine go into the wall.
I saw that as well.
That's polished my balls. He just went straight into the wall.
Yeah.
Right, we are actually public now. So I'm going to come in just after I've shared the stream on Discord. Here we are then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Motive Racing YouTube channel tonight for round 10 of the Formula 1 season here at Motive for season 5 on the EA Sports F1 game. We are just coming round up towards the starting grid here to get going here for the Austrian Grand Prix, the sprint race for tonight, the first race of the evening. We've got GGJ lining up on pole position with his teammate Janssen alongside him. Those two locking out the front row by quite some way ahead of HD Baguette in third place. We've got 17 drivers here for the sprint race tonight. We're expecting to have 19, I believe, for the Grand Prix. We've got a couple of guys running late, so that should be good to see. An almost packed out grid here tonight at Spielberg here in the Alps. But I'm joined in the box here by Max GT tonight. Max, welcome back. As always, great to have you with me.
Yeah, it's great to be here. There's no time to talk as the lights are going on for the first sprint. But round 10 of Austria is soon going to be lights out. And away we go as the two Red Bulls get away quite well there. Here we get Mike has a flying start there in the Ferrari. So does the AlphaTauri of Eggman. The Alfa Romeo of T there going down the inside. And a solid start for Red Bulls. They're already running away from the Ferrari.
Oh, there's a contact in the background there. Felix is into the wall, so he's had a nightmare. The man who commentated alongside us last week there is down at the back as we can see GJ looking around the inside. But Janssen's got ahead of him up into the lead of the race. So his teammate Vincent Janssen getting ahead of the championship leader. HG Baguette had a very sleepy start then down to P5. Seems to have lost a couple of positions. The Mutsnuts has got ahead of the Grieve coming down towards turn 3 as they're side by side. Can he complete this manoeuvre here? As you can see, the Grieve is getting a bit of a run here, coming to the outside. Goes late on the brakes and goes round the outside of the Mutsnuts there. Good move there from the Grieve. Bit of contact, but it's all good between those two right now. But Janssen there getting the jump on his teammate. Bennett's got ahead of Costas up into 15th place. Felix though with damage I think on the car, and he's really struggling here on his first lap. But out the front it's Janssen from GGJ, and Mike, as you said, Max, absolutely flying off the line there.
Yeah, that's a really good start from him. I don't know how many positions moved up, but Janssen, the main story tonight, going ahead of his teammate. There's clearly no team orders of Red Bull tonight. They're going fully at it on Janssen on his return to this F1 league as Janssen sits at the fastest lap of the race.
Well, you say no team orders, but you know, on the first lap of the race it's very hard to orchestrate anything. You know, I think at this stage it's difficult to know. We could be seeing something change a bit later on, but we're looking down the mid-pack here. There's a big battle going on right now. You've got the Mark on the back of T, and he's looking to try and make a move here up towards turn 2. Is he going to send one up the inside? He's going to think about it, and he's going to go late on the brakes. As you can see there, T going a little bit deep into the corner, but nothing doing at the moment. As in the background, Mr. Basil's got ahead of the Mutsnuts, and Bennett's picked off another couple of drivers here. He's got ahead of V10 Ultra, and Push My Balls has dropped a few places here down to P16, so I'm not sure what happened there to him, but he's losing out places left, right and centre right now. Little Greavy in the meantime has got ahead of the Mutsnuts, back up into the final points paying position. But it's all go here at the Red Bull Ring. It's always a bit of drama, and you never know really where to look around this track. There's always stuff going on. But right now Janssen leading out of GGJ. The two Red Bulls are being kept honest here by the Ferrari of Mike. It's been a really strong debut here right now from Mike PKF1. I'll tell you what, I'm very impressed with him at this stage. Little Greavy's down the inside of Mr. Basil into the penultimate corner, moves himself up into 9th place. Nicely done there from him. I just realised, I said a few moments ago that he was in the final points paying position. He wasn't, because you don't get a point for P10 in the sprint race.
Yeah, it's only the top 8 that get points in the sprint race, so big points come into the race. But here we go, as DRS is enabled. We know how powerful DRS is on this track here at Austria. Honestly, just a couple of tenths can make it between the race win, basically. As the Ferrari sets a purple sector 1. Ferrari is absolutely giving
Mr. Basil down the inside, little Greavy contact.
He's going to go round the outside, and he's taken lead again, GGJ. So that's an awesome move, and clearly, again, no team orders out at Red Bull. So they're letting them fight, which could be risky, because you don't want to get a trip over each other here, especially in this short track where time is made and lost by making a mistake. So let's see what happens between the Red Bulls tonight.
Yeah, I was also looking at Mr. Basil briefly as he tapped Little Greavy in the rear, but nothing doing at the moment. Bennett is in a train of cars here right now. He's in between the Mutsnuts and V10 Ultra, but he's looking to try and gain some places here. And we've got double yellow flags, and we've got a full course caution here. Yeah, virtual safety car. Oh.
Felix was round the exit turn 4, I think that is. I think he might have damage because, it's front wing.
No front wing.
Gone. So, no safety car for now, unfortunately, so racing can resume as normal. But yeah, very good racing so far.
Yeah, it's been frantic action so far here in this sprint race, but
virtual safety car.
Yeah, virtual safety car. So obviously Felix is having a nightmare of a race so far in this one, and he was running plumb last by himself in the middle of nowhere as it was, but obviously they have to clear the debris out, so they need a moment just to stabilise the race ever so slightly. But currently there's a bit of a battle going on. The mid-pack is looking quite close, all the way down from Eggman down to Mr. Basil. There's 6 cars in a line here, every car within a second of each other, so it's a long DRS train here between these guys. Then you've got Mutsnuts, who's got Bennett on the back of him, and Bennett has come from by the back in this one, started in P16, so he's gained 4 places in the first 3 racing laps of this one. Game for life in the pits, Felix, no surprise, he's coming out now. And we're now racing once again, so green flag being waved here in Austria, and GGJ managing to gain quite a bit of time during that virtual safety car. He must have been pushing his delta to the limit there, because he's a little bit further ahead of Janssen than he was. As we can see, T making a move on Eggman into the penultimate corner, and he gets himself into P5, but goes a little bit deep, but gets it turned in nicely. Eggman's got to watch out because the Mark is on the back of him coming out of the last corner, but there is the Grieve looking to make a move here on the Mark with DRS open into turn 1. They've both got DRS, but the Grieve's going to make this move surely. The Mark trying to hold it around the outside, they're still side by side, and the Mark there getting a great run out of turn 1, and there you can see little Greavy here is going to try and make a move on both of them. We're 3 wide up the hill towards turn 2, and little Greavy here is going to make 2 overtakes here in the space of a couple of 100 metres as his brother tucks in behind him. They both get ahead of the Mark up into 7th and 8th places respectively, and Mike in the meantime has split the Red Bulls here, so the Ferrari of Mike looking to the outside, but Janssen's back down the inside of GGJ into turn 3, and Janssen there doing a fantastic job of getting it back up into the lead, but GGJ there must have been heart in mouth, as you can see that Mike was trying trying to knock them both while they were down. GGJ here leads on lap 5 of the race.
Janssen was slow there. I think he let GGJ go. I think maybe there was a little bit of contact and he thought that was an unfair move. And he maybe just gave a position back because he knew that it wasn't fair. And HG Baguette isn't that far away. She is just a second over Mike there, but I think that was Janssen knew that was an unfair move. Maybe given that position back. So maybe Red Bull on the pit wall are active tonight and giving the place back to GGJ.
I've got a theory here, potentially, that Mike could be the same person who races on Project Cars 2, because there's a guy called Mike who races in the Project Cars 2 leagues here at Motive. He races in the Clio Cup and the Touring cars, and I know he's been talking recently to me when we've been playing Project Cars about his plans to enter the F1 league potentially. So I'm wondering maybe
he's gone around the outside. He's gone around the outside at turn 2, and that's a very, very good move. But Janssen isn't giving up yet. He's going to be right on his gearbox. Mike goes defensive. He's going to go round the outside Janssen. This could be a brilliant move if Mike gives enough space, and he does. There's just enough room between the two of them as Janssen now rages towards turn 5. Who's going to be latest in the race? It's going to be Janssen. Can he slow it down? Yes, he can. That's a very good move from Janssen.
But it's been a really strong debut so far from Mike, and something tells me that he's quite an experienced hand when it comes to sim racing. I think he's done a few. Yeah, I think he's not just an F1 racer. I think he's potentially our Project Cars 2 Clio Cup champion as well. 3-time Clio Cup champion, in fact. If this is the man, this is the same person. But currently he's really mixing it up with the 2 Red Bulls right now. The top 3 haven't got HG Baguette too far behind them either, so she is keeping herself in this fight on the fringes of the podium places. So yeah, really impressive performance from her so far tonight in these dry conditions. So you know, she's got the pace clearly, even in the dry. But GGJ over a second clear of Janssen, so he's now starting to up the tempo here a little bit. It's Janssen. I'm potentially thinking, Max, that Janssen's playing a bit of a team game here, trying to protect GGJ from Mike, maybe.
This could definitely be the case as Janssen moves a little bit late there into the entry of turn 4. Mike gets a penalty.
Oh,
goes
no.
off the track on the outside there, but he's going to get a switchback, and that's a very powerful move. Can he get this move done? He's going to be very close. Janssen's going to go down the inside and retake position. Mike cannot hold that on the outside, so we're going to yield for now. But yeah, Janssen, as you were saying, Andy, definitely could be playing the team game. Maybe Janssen knows that he's on the pace of GGJ, and maybe he's going to try and keep P2, because the gap between P2 and P1 in points is just 1 point. As Janssen goes off the track there, is only 1 point. So if he just holds it for now, he can be in a good position to attack in the race. So yeah, very interesting scenarios. HG Baguette is actually within DRS still, and she's actually gaining on the bike. So there's squabbling between these two, Red Bull and Ferrari, the title rivals. Definitely helping HG Baguette, so don't count her out.
Oh, Little Greavy's dropped it. Little Greavy's binned it on the exit of turn 1. Yeah, so he's dropping positions left, right and centre here. And it just goes to show how close the pack are. He's gone from, what, about P6 down to P15 with a little spin. So, yeah, there's certainly no compromise here. Oh, it's Eggman.
That's a little bit of a crash there. I saw front wing come
the mark.
completely off.
The mark's off as well, yeah. So he's lost places. And Mike's got back ahead of Janssen as well, but Janssen's trying to come back at him coming into a louder curve. But Mike's going to cover that inside line off as Janssen goes a little bit wide there onto the curve. Oh, Janssen there! Did a bit into the wall? Did he go into the wall there? Didn't see. He didn't get it in the wall, but he did have a big crash, and he's onto the grass, and he's lost. Well, he's only lost 1 place there because they were so far ahead. The top 3 had broken so far ahead of everyone else. He's still running in P4, but Bennett in the meantime has been quietly going about his business here. He's in P5. Where has he come from, Max? I haven't noticed him.
I'm so sorry, the content came in and gave me some money, but I've completely lost track of what's going on, so I'd have no comment on this situation.
Bennett here is in P5, so he has been just quietly cutting his way through the midfield. He was running, what, the last time I looked, he was in about P10.
Oh, and there's a bit of contact there. Mr. Basil's been round. I think that was Eggman as well, because he's completely parked in T1. So this could easily be a safety car. Demonstrate he joins the session, so he's clearly arrived. So yeah, no safety car from now. That's a little bit dodgy. That Eggman was just parked in turn 1.
In the meantime, HG Baguette making a move on Mike into turn 3. It makes the move into P2. So beautifully done there from HG Baguette. She's only 2 seconds off of the lead here. Obviously sprint race, so you know this is not the big points where the big points are handed out, but nonetheless, I'm sure that she'll be taking a lot of confidence from this, as we've got Matty Pitt now in the session. So we're expecting 19 drivers to be on the grid for the Grand Prix. If we can get one more reserve in, we can get a full grid. So if you are a reserve here at Motive and you're checking it out here tonight, load up the game and get yourself in, because you know, we'd love to have a full grid for the Grand Prix here. That would be absolutely amazing after the struggles we've had in the recent weeks here in the F1 League. We had a bit of a revamp. We've kind of like done a bit of a reset. We've got Matty Pitt now as the coordinator. He's been bringing in a few clean drivers. We've basically just done a whole reset on the rules and everything, and we are now a brand new, essentially like a brand new league in a way.
There's a little bit of a battle, a bit of a tussle here between the Ferrari, Alfa Romeo, Little Gravy, and T as well. I think there's a little bit of contact on the exit of the final corner. I can't remember who it was. Little Gravy gets a penalty there, so that's going to harm him. I mean, it's not exactly hard to do to get a penalty around here. So Mike gets past HG Baguette. I don't know what's happened. Bennett's up into P4, so he's overtaken Janssen. I don't know what's happened to Janssen, because he's dropped pace completely. So he's lost the position to Baguette and Bennett. And HG Baguette is still hanging on to Mike, but Bennett is definitely, I mean, he's 7 seconds behind Baguette, but definitely a very strong position to charge for a podium in the race. Yeah,
second race start will be absolutely brilliant for him, and yeah, I wouldn't rule out Bennett of a chance of a win here in the Grand Prix. Definitely not. I think he could definitely be a factor here over the course of this race. You know, it's a long race, and we know that Bennett's a masterful, strategic driver. So yeah, for sure, I reckon that he's going to be a player here in this battle with the Red Bulls and Mike, but and obviously Baguette now as well, because we know that Baguette's got the pace. Here's a challenge.
Yeah, definitely, and may I say this every single week, but GGJ, his ERS skills are absolutely astounding. he can keep this pace and not use a drop of ERS. So I take inspiration on this guy not to use ERS. It's definitely a skill I need to master. Yeah, it's crazy how good he is.
Yeah, I'm wondering when he's planning on using it, because you know, he's got a lap. Even if he were to use it for the entirety of the rest of this race, he still wouldn't have used it up by the end of the race.
I mean,
so
like he needs to. He's 2 seconds ahead of him.
Doesn't need to, but surely he'd want to showcase his skills and show how far ahead of everyone he is.
Be sandbagging here.
Maybe he's trying to lure the other drivers into a false sense of security, and you've now blown his cover.
Oh god! Oh, he's slowing down. He's slowed down.
Janssen here looking to the outside of Bennett. Oh, what's going on? Yeah, GGJ's slowing down. What is happening?
Right down on the exit.
Has he got a technical problem, maybe?
I don't know, but he's blocked.
Mike's looking on him. Oh, Mike almost putting it into the wall there, but Mike's attacking, and HG Baguette now looking to make a move here on Mike, coming down towards turn 1. Is she gonna make a move here into turn 1? No, she's too far back. But GGJ here labouring around a little bit, and that could potentially have just thrown away a win. Although having said that, he's got all of his ERS to use, and he's now using it. So I suppose he really did need that ERS in the reserve, because if it wasn't for that, he might be in trouble. Oh, Mike's going for it.
Very good move. That's an extremely good move. But GGJ has the ERS, like I've said. But
Mike's got DRS though.
DRS now. Yeah, I know he's got DRS, but nothing he can do compared to. He's got no ERS, Mike, so he has no chance against him. But HG
Mike's got the inside for Lauda. He's alongside. He might be able to make the move here on GGJ. No, GGJ's using that ERS to his advantage and managed to pull ahead there, coming through the middle sector. We go here for the final lap here of the sprint race here at Motive, out of the Red Bull Ring here for the Austrian Grand Prix. GGJ, I think, maybe was just trying to give them this full sense of hope that they might have had a chance here, because he seems to now be dropping it and has fully gone for it now. So GGJ here through the final couple of corners here, and it's going to be the sprint race win for him. I think he's just showing how much he's got in reserve here. Up towards the line he comes. GGJ your race winner, Mike second, and HG Baguette completing the podium. I think GGJ was playing a few games there, if I'm perfectly honest. I think he knew that he had the race. He knew he had that ERS battery in reserve and was not concerned in the slightest. Janssen, Bennett, the Mutsnuts over in 4th, 5th and 6th. You've got Little Greavy over ahead of V10 Ultra. Costas gets Little Greavy on the penalties. Mr. Basil will come over in P10 with T coming over there to take P10 ahead of Mr. Basil on to the time penalties. You got Felix, who's coming out of the last corner. He's going to take 12th place here in this sprint race ahead of the Mark, who will bring it around in 13th, followed by the Grieve, who takes P14, with Eggman coming through the final part of the lap. It's going to be a P15 here for Eggman, as he's now just coming out onto the start finish straight there. Tony 0K a long way behind, has not had the race at all here in this sprint race. He'll be hoping for better in the Grand Prix. Polish My Balls has put a fresh set of medium tyres on, and he's just binned it coming through the middle part of the lap, so that's not going to be ideal for him. And Tony 0K P16, and Polish My Balls is not moving anywhere fast, I don't think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know what GGJ's intentions were with it. He could obviously be playing around, showing his pace, and knows he's got the race. I think that was a little bit naughty in the final corner, because he was backing up Mike completely and made Mike come off the throttle on the brakes even. And and even made him have a little moment on the final corner in the exit on the straight. Yes, I don't know what his intentions were, if that was intentional or he really did have some sort of issue with his wheel, that like maybe he was sorting something out. But if that wasn't intentional, I think that could cause a little bit of concern. But very good race win from him anyway.
Yeah, I think if it's intentional, maybe a warning, maybe just don't do that again. It would suffice. Yeah, I don't think that there needs to be a penalty or any kind of like, not even a slap on the wrist, just please don't do that again. That's not really appropriate. But nonetheless, that is that then for the sprint race here, ladies and gentlemen, for round 10 here at Motive for Season 5 in the F1 game. Great win there from GGJ, showing that he had that race very much under his control. He had it in reserve. He had plenty of ERS battery, which he was able to deploy at the end and win quite comfortably there ahead of Mike and HD Baguette. But the race is going to be a different story. We're going to be seeing, obviously, Janssen starting in P4, Bennett 5th on the grid after starting by the back here in this sprint race. So he's come from right at the back to bring himself into a very strong position here for the Grand Prix. HD Baguette also could be a factor here. We know that HD Baguette and Bennett, those are two drivers who are very good on their tyres and always help and can always be there on the strategy. Also, I know that GGJ Janssen maybe a little bit not as wise as maybe HD Baguette and Bennett as well, potentially. So, you know, they've got the pace, but have they got that strategic mind? You know, we'll have to see. So it's going to be exciting to see how this pans out here tonight. But, yeah, exciting sprint race.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I mean, Austria's always an exciting race, even real life. Battles everywhere you look because, you know, tracks are so short and there's not enough space. People go 3 wides wherever you look, basically. So, yeah, one mistake means going from like P5 to back of field at best. So yeah, they really need to be careful with drivers, especially a penalty as well. Cause yeah, it's so easy to go over the white lines, which gives you a penalty. So yeah, one penalty can drop you down many positions just like a mistake. So drivers need to be careful out here tonight.
They definitely do. So we've got 12 of you currently watching the stream here on YouTube. Guys, if you are enjoying, please do hit the like button and subscribe to the Motive Racing channel. And yeah, if you want to join us, then go to www.motiveracing.com. Currently full for the F1 League, but we have got leagues on ACC, on the PS5 and Project Cars 2 as well, which is cross-play PlayStation still. When I say cross-play, I mean PS4 and PS5. It's not cross-play in terms of everything, but yeah, definitely come along, check us out, and you know, if we've got lots of people joining the F1 League, then I'm sure we'll consider setting up a second tier at some point. You know, if we've got people who want to create it, then I'm sure there'll be a possibility, there'll be options, and who knows, maybe even another night on F1, because we're not currently running anything on a Monday night, and potentially Saturday as well could be free. So yeah, definitely an option there. But currently 19 drivers here lining up on the grid, getting ready to go for the formation lap. Let's get the tyre graphic up, because that's the one that we need in the first stint. And yeah, so GGJ taking it win in the sprint race. He's opted for the hard tyres. Mike and HD Baguette have gone for the medium tyres. That could be interesting here, because obviously those two, they should theoretically have the pace over the Red Bulls of GGJ and Janssen in the early stages. But I'd say Mike would need to get the lead quite quickly here off of GGJ to have any chance of winning this race. He needs to be in the lead after the first couple of laps, I would say.
Yeah, definitely needs to. He needs to go fully send, basically. Cautious, but fully send into the first couple of laps. Because I think in the game, difference between mediums and hards is like 5 laps or so, and then you start to like the hards start to be in the pace of the mediums. So yeah, Mike definitely needs to get ahead of GGJ. I think he can. He had the pace in the beginning of the sprint race before GGJ just ran off of him. So he needs to really get ahead, use a little bit of ERS for save some in case GGJ does end up attacking him again. But yeah, I think Mike has a definite opportunity. But let's not count out Baguette as well. She's P3. She's scuttled into the podium place, isn't she? So yeah, very, very, very good race from in the sprint race. And Janssen as well. Let's hope he can keep up and secure maybe a double podium for Red Bull, maybe even better. But yeah, Bennett as well, P5, starting at mediums. He could get ahead of Janssen straight away. So yeah, lots of opportunities and stories in Austria.
Definitely so, and the cork in the bottle for all of these top 5 could be the Mutt's Nuts, because he's starting on the soft tyres and he's going to have a theoretical pace advantage enormously over the drivers in front of him. What can he do from P6 on the grid? Again, he's not going to be able to make it last for long, so he's got to really use that advantage whilst he can. But we have got the final drivers lining up on the grid here. 19 of them about to take the lights here at the Red Bull Ring for round 10 of the Formula 1 season here at Motive, the Grand Prix itself. As here we go, the lights are coming on now at the head of the grid. We are moments away from the start of the Austrian Grand Prix. And it is lights out and away we go. And it looks like a good start there from Mike. And he gets the jump there on GGJ up towards turn 1. The medium tyres really showing that they've got better traction. As Bennett there is looking down the inside of HD Baguette. HD Baguette's got a horrible start again down to P5 from third on the grid. As the Nuts there stood in P6, not making those soft tyres really work to his advantage here. As he's looking now down the inside of the Nuts nonetheless. Down the inside of HD Baguette nonetheless though into turn 2. And he's going late on the brakes. Almost tagging Bennett in the rear there was the Nuts. But he's up into P5. But Mike leading coming down the hill towards turn 3. GGJ there running in second place. Janssen getting himself into third place. So on the hard tyres there, Janssen doing what he needs to do in the early stages. HD Baguette though down to P6. You've got to say out of the top drivers here in this race, HD Baguette has definitely been the one who's lost out the most here.
Yeah, definitely. HD Baguette with another slow start like we saw in the in the sprint race even, sorry. Mustard goes a little bit wide there, but Mike with the perfect start so far. He's got almost a second. He's almost out of the ERS, and the guy with the most perfect ERS saving skills, GGJ, is using ERS to keep up with him, so you can tell that he's a little bit worried. But yeah, Mike running off into the distance here, 1 second gap. Good start from Janssen as well, securing the double podium, as I said for Red Bull. Bennett with a decent start, moving up a position, firstly to Baguette as well, and Nuts, decent start on the softs, what we expected really, up as a position because of HD Baguette. But yeah, Bennett hanging on to the leading pack for now. Same goes for Nuts, same goes for Baguette. And I think
V10 Ultra making a move.
P6 or 7.
Yeah, V10 Ultra's looking down the inside here, but T's back down the inside. Actually, he was looking around the outside there. They're going to get mugged by Tony's okay here, who's got a run coming out of turn 2. A great traction there for the McLaren, and he's up into 8th place there. Tony's okay making a move. He likes making double overtakes. We've seen on ACC. I remember a clip of him on YouTube. There's a bit of contact there. The Alfa Romeo tapping him in the rear there as T does a bit of a push to pass there. A bit naughty there from T. Tony's okay's got the inside for the next left-hander, and he's back down the inside again. V10 Ultra there with Demspecky in the mix as well. Yeah. Demspecky's up into 11th place by the back of the grid here, into 10th now. So Demspecky has gained 8 or 9 places here in the opening 2 laps. He's on fire right now. He's our former Ferrari driver and a reserve here for tonight, as he's looking to try and attack here on the back of these guys, but he's lost a few places there. Didn't get a great run through that section, did he? He's lost a load of places. So yeah, as we're singing his praises, he's just made a bit of a mistake, but nonetheless, Mike leading by over a second here ahead of GGJ, and showing that on the medium tyres he's got the pace here.
Yeah, V10 Ultra I think went straight into a back of totally zero there, as the Grieve gets past him as well. So it's a little bit of front wing damage. I saw it when I was on board. As Felix gets past him as well, he's going to hold off for now. But he goes down the inside, V10, and that's going to be a good move for now. But he doesn't have a traction compared to a guy with a full front wing, where he's missing an M plate. So yeah, he can't do much there, as Mike is still pulling away from GGJ. Yeah, he's done a very solid job so far, and on his debut leading the race. So yeah, very, very impressive.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job, but he needs to be pulling that gap, because as we said before, obviously the medium tyres not as durable as the hard tyres, so he needs to make that grip advantage last while he can, because he'll be going in for an earlier pit stop, and he'll be having to swap over and put those hard tyres on for the second stint, unless he can make these mediums go something like 24 laps and put the softs on at the end, which I think is unlikely.
Janssen's got past GGJ, and I think that was team orders actually, because GGJ let off the throttle there, and it's going to give GGJ the DRS though, so I don't know, no, he's not going to use ERS, so he's not going to go past his teammate. So clearly Janssen is the priority for now, and he's going to set off the mic, as GGJ wasn't making any ground. And because of this, they closed like 2 tenths or something, as there's a yellow flag, and I think that's the Lil Greavy's round, the final corner. So that's going to be painful for him, as he's going to have to drop to the back of the field behind Mr. Basil. As Matty Pitt and Eggman are going at it for this little gaggle of cars. I think that's about 7 cars, or 6 cars actually. Sorry, Michael. And yeah, this is a very good battle. I think B10 is the cause of this, because yes, wing damage is going to.
Oh, someone onto the grass. Game for life, Felix.
The grass and the Williams. Matty Pitt's going to get past him. So very good squabble here. Eggman goes down the inside of Felix, so that could be a good move. But he's going to hold it round the outside. Really go down the inside, Eggman. He's going to hold the move. No, he isn't. Felix takes P50. as V10 Ultra gets a penalty, alongside T, who are the penalty holders so far in the race. But yeah, interesting that Janssen has been let past GG.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe he's just saying, right, you know, can you go and have a crack at him, because they're running on the hard tyres. They shouldn't be as quick as Mike at this stage. But saying that, though, yeah, they are keeping up with him quite nicely here. Now that the race has settled down a little bit, they are starting to reel him in ever so slightly. Mike is still just over a second, but Dennis Becky there with a 3-second time penalty. What's going on there?
GGJ just about got tagged at this over by Bennett. I think that's a little bit of contact there. I don't think Bennett has damage.
Oh, Mr. Basil's out of the race. Yeah, is that going to be a safety car? It's double wave yellow flags for now. Yeah, it is. Safety car's coming out. Yeah.
So yeah, interesting. I don't think Bennett has damage, so lucky for him, as Omag gets a penalty for collision with Felix. But yeah, very interesting. That was called for, but luckily no damage.
Yeah, so we've got 4 drivers with time penalties now, 1 for a collision, 3 for track limits. But Mike Gaming, or Mike should I say, I think he's the same dude. I think he's the same dude, but I don't know. But Mike Lee out in front, and but now his advantage is going to be cut down because obviously with the safety car, so he's not going to have a second of an advantage anymore. Saying that though, on the restart, usually the leader does have an advantage, but Mutsnut's coming in. He's obviously started on the soft tyres, so no surprise to see him coming in at this stage. I wonder if he's going to put the hards on maybe and try and go to the end from here, because you think about it, we're probably going to only have about 28 racing laps, and you can easily do 28 laps around this circuit on the hard tyres. So he's going to come out obviously at the back, but he'll have done his pit stop already, so won't have to worry about having to do that again. V10 Ultra in, as well as Game for Life or Felix. And yeah, only 3 drivers coming in, which is a surprise actually, because a safety car 5 laps into the race, you know, I would have thought there'd probably be a bit more of an influx of drivers taking that opportunity, but not really many people doing so.
Yeah, you're completely right on that one. Hard tyres, as you said, can completely go to the end, full stop. Tyre wear is minimal around this track, as it is just a bunch of straight lines, so there's not much degradation on the tyres. So definitely set of hard tyres will go to the end. Don't know what Janssen and GJ are going to plan. Oh, Janssen's round! Round.
He needs to keep it on the track. If he comes off the track, isn't it, he'll have to go to the back.
That is a big pain for Janssen, and he's still going round, so I don't think
Did he leave the circuit? Because if he left the circuit, then he'll have to carry on where he is.
I think it's so that if you're too slow, like I've seen it in Tim at Marduk's co-op career, if you go too slow, anyone can go past you. So I think he's going to have to be where he is.
Oh no. Well, it's going to be an exciting race, isn't it, to see where he can get to now, because it's going to be a comeback. It's going to be a hell of a comeback drive for Vincent Janssen. He's going to make it very difficult for himself into the pits. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I can't see him making a set of mediums last to the end, so it'd be interesting to see what he does here. Maybe he's going to put the softs on and go for a sort of a burst through the pack. Yeah, try and make some headway, and then come in when everyone else comes in later on, maybe. But or maybe, yeah,
probably not. Maybe mediums, then, like maybe like 18 or something. Whack on a set of mediums and go to the end easily. It's not completely out of question that he's within chance of podium, or definitely points, because you know soft tyres and Jansen's pacing is not
yeah, with the pack being so bunched up, you know, 17th is not going to be too far away, for sure.
That's going to be 5 seconds, 6 seconds, something like that, coming in the whole field. So yeah, definitely. I think Jansen's struggling to be this hard as it is. The race is long, very long. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities to make. It's a shame he has to. Stuff happens in motorsport, and you have to get on with it. Because you have to dig deep. But that's exactly.
Definitely so. Right, I'm just going to quickly run and turn the light on. Because it's dark in there. Right, one sec.
Alright, so safety car is in this lap, as Mike will need to field a very, very good start so far up into the lead. How long these medium tyres hold against the hard tyres is a question everybody puts. There's a bit of a gap here there. Don't have to figure out some problem across this. Yeah, Mike is going to be setting the pace for this field, and he has control. He can go whenever he wants up until the start finish line. He's gone now, so GGJ, he hasn't left it long with Mike, so he's put himself at a little bit of risk there. He's going to start swerving on the main straight, going to the inside as far as he can, and then coming back onto the racing line. But here we go, safety car is in the lights of green.
We've got a move here, Tony 0K making a move down the inside of Costas into turn 1, but it goes a little bit deep. Costas trying to get the cut back here out of turn 1, but Tony 0K's got to move done there up into the position, as we can see there. Janssen moving ahead of V10 Ultra as well, into 16th.
Oh, there's a bit of contact there, and there's a big crash, and
no.
Just like what happened in Spain about unspokenness between Demspecki and GGJ, I think, no, Vincent as well. A little bit of contact, I think he moved over on him, there was not enough space given, and consequently Greaves in the wall, and I think with big damage he doesn't have a front wing. So that's a big incident in the opening lap of the safety car restart. As GGJ has a gap of 1.2 to Mike, so Mike has run away with it so far. So very, very, very impressive. Bennett 0.6 behind GGJ. He's keeping on as we get his 1.3, so I think she's led off a little bit, and I think Felix is round. So Felix is round up a power horse, so that's a little bit disappointing, very disappointing, as he did in the sprint race. Yeah, very good start so far.
In the meantime, Janssen's made his way up into 14th, obviously with 17th on the restart, so made up 3 places here in the couple of the laps since the restart. He's now looking to try and get a train of cars in front of him. He's got a long train here to deal with, all the way basically from Costas down to himself, so there's 9 cars currently in a line, and he's looking on the back of the Mutts Nuts here as he's up the hill towards turn 2. But Mutts Nuts with the slipstream there off of the Haas in front of him. No DRS just yet, but the answer's down the inside here of the Mutts Nuts, and he's going to make that move beautifully there into turn 2. Easy pickings there. He's now going to look to try and capitalise on Little Greavy as well, as you can see on board with the Red Bull that the Haas seems to have a bit more straight line speed than him, and it's going to hold on comfortably into turn 3. Oh, is somebody in the foreground off? That's Eggman there losing it. Did he hit somebody in the rear in front of him? Not sure. Mr. Basil's left the session, so he's rage quit here on lap 9. But Eggman there.
Eggman has a little bit of damage in front of him, so he's definitely hit someone. But Janssen, as I've noticed, is basically out of ERS on the safety car restart, the second lap I think that is, and he's still using it even though he doesn't need to. And one thing he needs to do is conserve the ERS, because the more you have, the more advantage you have getting past the pack. But I've seen a lot of drivers without ERS flashing on the rear lights, which means they're halting and below like 10% ERS I think it is. But Janssen here, on the inside of Little Greavy, he doesn't have DRS. He's going to try down the inside. Who's going to be latest to the bricks? It's going to be Janssen. Down the inside, that's a good move past Little Greavy up into P11.
As we can see Matty Pitt there getting a good run out of turn 1. He's going to look, and he's already made the move there on T, comfortably up towards turn 2. Moves himself up into the position. You can see now you got Little Greavy trying to come back at Janssen. Janssen down the inside of T, pushing him a bit wide coming out of turn 2, but he gets, turn 2. And Janssen there up into P10 as Little Greavy's now making a move on T as well. So T got a horrible run there coming out of turn 2. Little Greavy now looking down the inside of Janssen. I don't think he's going to make that one happen, Little Greavy. Oh, bit of contact, and he loses out there. So Little Greavy getting mugged by T. Still side by side though, Little Greavy on the inside for the left-hander coming down the hill. Side by side here, Little Greavy does keep ahead of T just about by the skin of his teeth there. But Janssen now up into 9th place. Now he can try and chase down the guys who are battling over P5, Totally 0K, Demspecki, Costas and the Mark, although the Mark's dropped off for those guys a little bit, but T with a time penalty there as he's now lost out to the Mutts Nuts as well.
Yeah,
more contact between the Mutts Nuts and T. Sorry Max, there's a bit of bodywork there flying off of the Alfa Romeo there of T as the Mutts Nuts squeezes through, but yeah, they might have a bit of damage there, might have a bit of a performance loss there for T, because I definitely saw a red piece of carbon fibre flying off that Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, I was about to say Janssen, I think, made a little bit of contact to Matty Pitt. He went down the inside but spun him round, so I don't think it was intentional, of course. It's motorsport, probably he was racing, but completely turning around another driver. Oh, and someone goes down the inside, and V10's gone down the inside of T and forced them both off, so that's a disgusting move, basically. Yeah. They need to calm down and get back into the good room race, because we don't want to see that in our league. So,
yeah, definitely not. That's reminiscent of what we were seeing a few weeks ago, if I'm honest, and that isn't the last thing we want to be seeing at this point. We've got double wave yellow flags through sector 1 at the moment. Not quite sure what those are in aid of at this point, but we've still got Totally 0K on the back of Demspecki as they're coming down into the final sector. We're on lap 11 of 36, so we're not even a third of the way into the race yet. We had a safety car period which has slowed things down. Yeah, it is very lightly. It's still very much I think we're a long way from Inters, but it is starting to spit. Yeah.
It's crazy because we don't have access to weather forecasters in our commentary box right now.
Oh, it's ridiculous. This game's broken.
Yeah, GGJ's going to go down the inside, though on Mike. Will he make the move stick? Because T's
T out of the race.
Possession. So if there's a safety car here, GGJ's in luck because he's going to keep the position, but I don't think that's a safety car as T retired in the pits. So Mike's going to have DRS here. He's going to push as hard as he can. maybe go down the inside. Is he going to send it? He's going to send it down the inside. That's like a Leclerc move in real life. As GG goes around the outside, he's kept the position. So that's good on GGJ there.
Yeah, GGJ knew where Mike was going to go and knew exactly what he needed to do to keep the momentum going. So GGJ's still in P1 at the moment. But Bennett here just waiting in the wings, and said earlier on that Bennett would be a factor in this race. But the thing is, with GGJ being on the hard tyres, it's going to be very difficult for Bennett to challenge GGJ later on. And Mike's now is going to be really suffering here because he knows that with GGJ leading this race, he's got next to no chance of winning this one unless he can somehow make his medium tyres go to about lap 23, which is not impossible, but it would be extremely difficult here for Mike and for Bennett to do that. As Game for Life in the meantime has got a 3-second time penalty there, but the only theory that I can have as to why GGJ is able to outpace Mike and Bennett on the hards compared to the mediums is because maybe, just maybe, they've decided to save their medium tyres to try and put the softs on at the end. Oh, it's Bennett's up down the inside. Yeah, making some move done.
That's
excellent.
A really good move at Mike, but Mike's got the switchback. He's got DRS.
And DRS, yeah.
Or Bennett's got DRS as well, because they've both in 1 second with GGJ. As I think the punishment balls this round. Bennett's going to go down the inside.
Late move.
He leaves enough space, Mike. And that could be moved, but no, Mike gets better traction. The one theory I have at the is that I think the mediums are going to be, you know, just basking in the luck they've had.
Oh, contact between Jansen and Tony 0K coming out of turn 3. They're both on the gravel here, and maybe that's just the rain, the slipperiness starting to play an effect here. But they're down to 11th and 12th places, and Jansen's still struggling to get it going again, as he's lost out to Felix as well. He's down in 13th place. Here is Jansen. In the meantime, Costas, I think, has had an incident. Costas has put the inters on. It's too early for that, Costas. It's not time yet. Eggman also with the inters on, but they're not going to be picking up any grip at this point. It's going to be a torrid grip for those guys. Jansen out of the race. He's retired. He's rage quit.
Straight into a wall. He like flat out went straight into a wall.
That's a rage quit. Yeah, blatant. Yeah.
Well, this could be a good opportunity both for safety car if the AI does pull over. But one theory I have, as I was really interrupted by Rage Quit, one theory I had is that the mediums are going to be so lucky because if they can make it to the end, they can pit on inters at the same time as the hards, and all tyre disadvantage will be cancelled out as they are all intermediates. So I think Mike and Bennett are rubbing their hands. It's same for Baguette as well, because she's still within 6 seconds or so within the leading pack. So I think this could be a very equal race, but we need to see how long the race, how far the rain is out, and how far the inters.
Well, I'm telling you now, from what I'm seeing, from where I'm sat, the intensity's actually lowered a little bit. It kind of like it was about, I'd say it was maybe about a 2 or 3 out of 10 on the previous lap. It's now gone down to about a 1.5, I reckon. In terms of what I'm seeing, you know, yeah, he is in the pits. I think it's too early still.
It's just way too early for inters. I mean, on this game, the time ideally you want to pit in is when, yeah, it's inters. The time you want to pit for inters is when DRS gets disabled. That's your cue when you go into the pit lane. So I think this is way too early, personally. But let's see, because he can't even get the undercut because he'll be slow and his tyre's going to be warm.
The only time you can make it work when you come in too early for the inters is when it suddenly hammers down, you know, within a few seconds after you come in. It does.
It happens. It does really happen. And I think this could be any time now, actually, because I think puddles are starting to form on the track as we ride on board with GGJ. So I think he's not far off, actually. He could have timed this to perfection. Let's see how this plans out.
Well, plenty of drivers are now coming in, so it's clear to see that there is some kind of general trend going on right now. Bennett's now losing a bit of time to Mike. Mike is now extending that gap a little bit, so he's continuing to revel in this. Yeah, Bennett saying that now has just gained quite a bit of time on Mike coming through the middle sector here. So ebbing and flowing between these two. But I reckon we're going to be seeing the top 5 coming in now. Yeah, you're right. He's absolutely slippery as hell now. It's just suddenly switched it up. This lap, I think, it's really changed. So Mike and Bennett into the pits.
That's the really unrealistic thing in this game. It just happens over like a snap of a finger. If you blink, you miss it, basically. So yeah, a bit of disappointing feature in this game, but luckily a new one's coming soon, so we can fix that.
HD Baguette staying out. Wow.
Interesting.
That is very, very audacious there.
Surely you can see that as too
GGJ obviously is. Look at that. GGJ way ahead of Mike and Bennett. Way ahead.
He's pitted and he's onto mediums. Oh wait, no, never mind. I thought he was coming out of this, but never mind. Yeah.
GGJ has played an absolutely brilliant strategy here. He's gained 2.5 seconds on Mike through putting the inters on a lap earlier. That is absolutely incredible.
Tony Zero's off the track, is getting rejoined. I don't think that's going to cause a safety car. It went way wide and he's still on. No, he's on inters. So I don't know what's happened there, but HGB is definitely going to be struggling, and GJ is going to be catching.
HGB Get's only hope here in this one is that it suddenly stops raining and dries out in the next lap or two. Otherwise, she's thrown away her chances of finishing in the top 5, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely. I think in the last couple of corners, GGJ has gained about 2 seconds. So it's definitely Inters, if you couldn't tell. As the whole field except for the Get are on Inters.
I think it's quite unbelievable. It just goes to show how fine margins how fine the margins are in F1. The fact that a couple of laps ago we were sat here saying, "Oh yeah, it's nowhere near time for Inters," and now all of a sudden the track is like almost flooded, and it's the fact that
we were talking about how the mediums were going to be waiting to go to lap 23 or something. And that was like really, so yeah, anything to that.
It's amazing how quickly things change, but GGJ nonetheless leading the race by just over 2 seconds here ahead of Mike. But I was wondering maybe earlier on if Mike was potentially going a little bit easy on his medium tyres in the first stint, knowing that he was trying to get them to a stage in the race where he could put the softs on. I reckon that is a possibility there for Mike, but he's currently keeping the gap at around 2.5 seconds here to GGJ. So let's see if Mike can bring this pressure here on GGJ. With Bennett not too far behind as well, you've only got about just over 3 seconds covering the top 3, so it's still race on here. And I'll tell you what, GGJ's slowing here down the straight, down towards turn 3. So what is he doing? What's going on there? He seemed to lose about a second.
Is it a safety car? It might be a safety car.
No, it's a virtual.
Oh, I don't think it is.
It's a virtual safety car.
Yellow flags. Yeah, it's a virtual safety car. Oh, yeah, it's a virtual safety car. That's just flags.
Yeah, so Mike's pushing his delta a little bit to the limit, by the looks of it.
It's not a repeat of a sprint race, so yeah. So VSC, I don't know what for. I don't know what happened. Oh yeah, it was Paul's. It was Paul's rules. As he had a issue on the exit turn 4, I think it was, just like the sprint race. So he definitely isn't friends with that corner at the moment. So yeah, it's virtual safety car for now. I think Andy, this is a perfect time for me to leave because I do need to practice for a championship. But,
I suppose in a way that's giving you a bit of a cue there.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So good luck to all drivers tonight, and yeah, I'll see you next. I won't see you next week. I'll see you the week after.
Week after. Well, thanks Max as always. It's been very enjoyable, and we'll see you soon.
I'll see you soon. Good luck.
Yeah, so shame there that Max had to leave us there halfway through the race. He did say earlier on, he did actually mention to me he wouldn't be with us for the entirety of the stream, but nonetheless, we've still got half of the Grand Prix left here at Motive for the F1 League here. This is round 10 of a 21 race season here for season 5. And it looks like we're now back underway here, so the virtual safety car has subsided, and GGJ still out the front leading the race, but the gap to Mike is now under 2 seconds, so Mike's definitely got a bit of momentum here at this point, and is starting to bring it to him ever so slightly here. Bennett's only 3 seconds off for the lead, so could definitely be a factor here in this race, but you never know what might happen. This track could dry out over the course of the rest of this race, and we could be seeing them putting the softs on for the final part of the race, so anything can happen, and there's still a long way to go here at the Red Bull Ring. But currently GGJ leading by just over 2 seconds at the moment. Bennett's now got a gap at under a second to Mike, so he's brought that down a little bit here in the last couple of laps. And we got HGB Get running in 7th, has got Little Greavy and Costas quite close behind her. In fact, Little Greavy, Costas, Matty Pitt and Game for Life are all separated by just over a second at the moment. So this is a very tight battle here for 8th place. But none of them really look close enough to the car in front to be making a move at this stage. Matty Pitt really close on the back of Costas though as they're coming out of turn 1. Can he get a bit of a run here coming up the hill towards turn 2? He's getting that closing speed here. He's going to look to the inside. He's going to go for the move here surely, and Matty Pitt there, as he go deep on the brakes, he gets it turned in nicely actually there, does Matty Pitt. And he's up into 9th place, so beautifully done there from him. But Costas is trying to come back at him, going down the straight towards turn 3. And Costas there moving back through. Matty Pitt on the outside, they're side by side here, coming into turn 3. Costas back down the inside. Matty Pitt trying to keep it there, and Costas onto the grass a little bit. Got it a little bit wrong. Might lose out here to Felix as well. Felix looking to try and attack on the back of Costas here, coming down towards turn 4, but he's a little bit too far away. But Matty Pitt there upper position, up into P9. Felix trying to attack on Costas here and knock him while he's down and get himself into that final points paying position here. As Felix takes a bit of a slide there, but holds on to it, but loses a bit of time there to Costas in the process. In the meantime, GGJ's extended his gap to Mike a little bit over the course of the last couple of laps. You can see that that's over 2 seconds now between those two. Mike's managed to extend his gap to Bennett ever so slightly as well. So 3.5 seconds just over now covering the top three. So it looks like we're in the right order here as Eggman has DNF from the race. He has crashed out here on lap 20. No safety car by the looks of it. We're getting away with just double wave to the flags here for this one. So no major dramas here. Just right on board with Felix here, still trying to put the pressure on Costas for 10th place as he's going to get a good run there coming out of turn 2. And he's going to look to get the move here down towards turn 3. Here we go, and Felix there is going to get that one done rather easily there up into 10th place as he moves through there beautifully. But we have got a few comments here on the stream at the moment, guys. Sorry for not checking out these comments here, but I want to say thank you to Andrew for commenting, saying still a Crash Festival standard, got better. He's got a lot better. Yeah, we've really sorted out the problems. We've ironed out the creases and managed to get a really good bunch of drivers who are clean, fair, and lots of them as well. We've got Raki in the comments saying, good evening all, my favourite Joe commenting again. Unfortunately, Max has had to leave us for the second half of the Grand Prix, but yeah, I do love commentating with Max. He's really knows his stuff about F1, and it's rare. I've never really been able to find somebody who can keep up with the action like I can before I found Max to commentate with. So yeah, great to have him as always. Yelma there in the comments saying, yo, that's Joe Ram there, who is the 3-time champion of the F1 League here at Motive. And he's saying there he wants Felix to win this race. Well, unfortunately, he's not really getting his wish so far. Felix down in P9 at the moment, battling with Matty Pitt, and he's trying to get onto the back of Little Greavy and HT Baguette. HT Baguette hasn't got the pace in the wet that she'd had in the dry. Seems to be struggling a little bit as Little Greavy gives her a bit of a tap there, trying to force his way through. As he looks to the inside, she goes a little bit wide there, and Felix moves. Little Greavy moves through up into 7th, and so does Felix there. So Felix getting ahead of HT Baguette up into 8th place, and HT Baguette might lose out to Matty Pitt here as well. So Matty Pitt here looking to make the outside. No, HT Baguette's got enough of a run here down the hill into the penultimate corner. But Chris Pistic there in the comments saying, hello, welcome. Matty Pitt there getting ahead of HT Baguette, coming out of the final corner and back up into 9th place there. But yeah, you've got Game Tech also in the comments saying hello. Welcome Game Tech. He's actually the father of Max, which I found out through Raki actually a while back. Well, I shouldn't really be saying that. Well, I shouldn't be saying that. But hey, no. To be fair, no. Max has already revealed that he is that Game Tech is his dad in the stream, so it's not. I mean, it's not really an issue. But Glenn says hello, Mr. Game Tech. Good evening. Says Yoma. We've got Andrew saying, I know this has got now to do with this race, but once practiced on ACC at Spa last night, no lobby set to Spa. I will see to that shortly, because I think my G portal was broken the other night. Glenn GT there saying, come on the Alpha Tauris. Obviously supporting who's in the Alpha Tauris? Eggman's in one of them and Dennis Becky's in the other one. Dennis Becky currently running in 4th place right now. Obviously started at the back, having not been in the sprint race, so it's been a solid performance here from him. Bennett currently running in 3rd place, still on the back of Mike, as these two battled out over 2nd place, but they've lost a lot of time here to GGJ, who is now way up the road running in the lead. This is the battle for the podium places right now. Felix here running in 8th place is on the back of Little Greavy as well, as they're coming out of turn 1 for the 23rd time here in this race. Matty Pitt's got a 3-second time penalty there. That's flashing up on the screen there for multiple warnings. HG Baguette still on the back of Matty Pitt right now. But you've got Game for Life here on the back of Little Greavy as they're coming down towards turn 3. A little bit too far away. Just at the moment he's going to look to make a dive though, but Little Greavy's just got enough. No, Little Greavy wide onto the curb. Game for Life here has the run and should be able to get this one done, although Little Greavy's still there on the inside coming down towards turn 4. Little Greavy back up into P7 there. These two trading places, and a little bit of a slide there from Little Greavy on the exit onto the curb, which you don't want to do in the wet, but holding it together for now. A little bit of of a moment there, so, but it's all good. Grieve here is pulling up onto the back of V10 Ultra as these guys battling over P12 at the moment, still running quite close. Felix looking to the inside here of Little Greavy into turn 1, but nothing doing at the moment. Little Greavy just doing what he needs to do to keep onto that position. HTV gets still on the back of Matty Pitt, but Matty Pitt's starting to extend that gap a little bit here as the two Aston Martins still fight it out over 9th and 10th places. Oh, here we go. Gamefly looking down the inside here of Little Greavy into turn 2, but he goes a little bit deep. Little Greavy's going to get the cut back here, coming down a straight towards turn 3. Little Greavy here is just edging ahead there of Felix coming down towards 3. And he's back up into P7 once again. As Game for Life now looking back down the inside here of Little Greavy as they're still side by side. In the meantime, the Grieve is coming for wet tyres. I don't think it's time for wet tyres. I mean, maybe he's seeing a different track from what the rest of them are seeing, but that looks like it might be a little bit early for that. We've got the Mark here in the pits, and so is Felix as well. So, and so is Matty Pitt. So we see a few drivers actually coming in, and maybe the wet tyres are now the par for the course here because we see quite a few people coming in, maybe chancing it, possibly thinking what is there to lose, or has the rain really intensified that much that we need wet tyres here? Looks like the leaders haven't really felt the need yet. Mike's kept the gap at 4.5 seconds to GGJ, but he's gapped Bennett by quite a bit now. So Mike's looking very, very strong in that second position at this point. Dennis Becky just quietly going about his business there, running in 4th place. He's currently about 10 seconds off for the lead at the moment. So can he potentially bring himself closer to the podium fight? Definitely not out of the question here for Dennis Becky here in this race. As V10 Ultra and Felix, they're going side by side into turn 3. But Felix stood ahead right now in that final points paying position at this point. Dennis Becky into the pits here at the end of lap 25. So can Dennis Becky maybe do a bit of a blindside here on the top 3? Put the wets on and potentially find a bit of pace here. Going to keep an eye on the lap times here because they could be very crucial to understanding what the situation is here in terms of what the right tyre is to be on. But Dennis Becky here coming out of the pits on some wet tyres, so he's the highest of the wet tyre runners here. Little Greavy and HTB gets still going at it on the intermediate tyres. GGJ still out the front right now. It's got just under 5 seconds of a gap right now over Mike. As we see V10 Ultra here coming into the pits on lap 26 of the race. And he puts on some wet tyres there and he's off and away again. Now when are the leaders going to come in? Are they going to come in? That's the question. Maybe they're all feeling a little bit tentative to do so, as they'd be throwing away a potential podium if they were to do so. Or for GGJ a win. But yeah, staying at it. Oh, Bennett's going for it. Bennett's pulling the trigger. He's saying, why not? Might as well. And he's DNF'd. What's Bennett done? Why is he DNF'd? Has he been disqualified? What's happened here? Oh, I'm sure we're going to find out what's gone on here. Bennett will probably let us know on Discord, but Bennett is out of the race in the pits. So he is retired at the end of lap 20... And lap 26 for him. He has left the session, so that is a real head scratcher though. I can't figure out why. In the meantime, the man to watch right now could potentially be Dennis Becky, because he is currently 27 seconds off for the race lead with 9 laps left to go. If the wets can be 3 seconds a lap faster than the inters, then Dennis Becky could be onto a winner. But if they're not, and he's got absolutely no chance of ruining that gap down here. And GGJ is now coming into the pits here. So GGJ putting the trigger. Is Dennis Becky going to be within range? Is he going to be a little bit closer here to GGJ? Mike's staying out. So this could be massive here for Mike. Could Mike have won the race here by deciding to stay out on the intermediate tyres? It's a risky strategy, a very ballsy move here from Mike, as GGJ's now off and away. Demsbecky's coming through into the penultimate corner right now, but GGJ's already halfway down the pit lane. Demsbecky coming through the final part of the lap, as through the final corner he comes. GGJ's now coming to the end of the pit lane as he just rounds that bend out of turn 1. Demsbecky coming over the start finish line right now, so GGJ's well ahead of Demsbecky. So the gap between GGJ and Demsbecky currently 7 seconds. So Demsbecky's gained about maybe 2 seconds on GGJ by putting the wet tyres on earlier. So Mike has got a 15-second lead right now over GGJ. If the wets are 2 seconds a lap faster, then GGJ will be on Mike right at the end of this race. So can Mike make these one intermediate tyres work and get himself to the flag and maybe get the win here, or is GGJ going to hunt him down and get him right at the end? This is now a fascinating development here. Can Mike hold on these worn tyres, or is he going to maybe regret not coming in? He's pretty much committed to this strategy now, as we've got 8 laps left to go here at the Red Bull Ring here in Spielberg tonight for this round 10 of the Formula 1 season here for season 5 at Motive. Mike starts lap 29, his debut race here tonight at Motive Racing in the F1 League. I think he's the same person as Mike, who races in Project Cars too. If he is, then he's a man who knows what it takes to win championships. 3-time champion of the Clio Cup, 2-time champion of the Touring Cars. But he's currently got a 13-second lead over GGJ on his F1 debut here tonight. Again, I'm not sure if they're the same person. If he's not the same person, I'm going to be left very blue in the face here. But I think I'm 50-50 if I'm honest, because a lot of people play F1, so it's not necessarily going to be the same person. But Little Greavy and HD will get into the pits nonetheless here at the end of lap 28. And Mike here coming through the final few corners. So the gap at the end of the last lap was about 13.7 seconds. Let's keep a close eye here and see what it is as they're coming round. I tell you what, GGJ is gaining absolutely hand over fist on Mike right now. He's gaining very, very quickly indeed, and Mike would need it to dry out if he's to have any chance, I think, of holding on to this lead. GGJ is about 3 seconds a lap faster. He's going to be on him with about 3 or 4 laps left. But a gap currently just over 10 seconds here between Mike and GGJ. I reckon GGJ is going to catch him with just a little bit of this race left as things stand. It's going to be a fascinating end to this race to see who's going to come out on top in this one. Mike has got, just coming into the final corner to complete lap 30. The gap's just over 8 seconds here between Mike and GGJ right now. I wonder if Mike had a scruffy lap on the previous lap, because this time around the gap's not come down by quite as much. Still 2 and a bit seconds though. GGJ has gained on Mike on that previous lap. So at the beginning of this lap the gap was 7.8, and we're just going to have to keep an eye and see how much GGJ is gaining on Mike. So watching Mike coming through turn 3 into the middle part of the lap here. The gap's not coming down as much as it was. Initially GGJ was gaining about 3 seconds a lap. It's now about 2 and a bit, and it looks like the amount that he's gaining each lap is coming down lap by lap. The advantage that the fresh tyres give you sort of like wears off a bit, and obviously I think now the rain has lessened by quite a bit as well, so the Inters could be the tyre of choice quite soon here in the closing stages. But at the moment GGJ is still taking chunks out of Mike's lead, but nowhere near as much as he was. As we come over the line here, the gap between Mike and GGJ just under 6 seconds. So GGJ gained another 1.5 seconds that last time around. Is it going to be enough for Mike to hold on to this lead, which he has done really well to be in this position here on his debut, his first ever Grand Prix here at Motive on the F1 game. If he can keep GGJ's gain per lap down to about 1 second, then he should be able to bring it home for a race victory here tonight. The gap as they came over the line at the beginning of this lap was 5.8. It's now down to 5 seconds as we're about halfway around the lap. And GGJ has now gained around 1 second so far on this lap. It's ebbing and flowing between the two of them. Who is it going to be? Quite tense here at the end of this race, if I'm honest. Really don't know what's going to happen here. But GGJ did gain quite a bit there on Mike on that previous lap. He's sort of like back in the territory that he was before. 1.8 he gained on Mike on that previous lap just there. So he will probably be on the back of Mike come the final lap of this race. It's going to be very, very tight. They're going to be nip and tuck by the time we get around to the last lap. But the thing is, the rain's really dropping off here. And that could be a godsend for Mike. What sort of defence is he going to be able to put up when GGJ arrives on the back of him as well? Because these conditions are not easy to overtake. There's no DRS in the wet, so he could potentially put up a strong defence here. So gap as we started this lap was 4.0, 4 seconds on the dot between Mike and GGJ. It's now 3.1. GGJ so much quicker through that part, through that section, the middle sector. Gap up to 3.2 as we come into the penultimate corner. And this is the part where GGJ will gain a bit more time here as well as we come out of the final corner. That time around 1.3, 1.2 was the gain from GGJ. 3 laps left to go. He's going to be on him. He's going to be closing up onto the rear of him as we start the last lap as things stand. Mike's got a little bit of traffic here. Could that play a factor here? Could that be a cork in a bottle for our debutant here tonight? You've got V10 Ultra and HD Baguette here battling with Totally 0K in the middle of them. Mike has just got to put a lap on HD Baguette, and he'll be hoping and praying that HD Baguette doesn't get in the way or distract him in any way. But having saying that, he can go through her anyway, so no dramas really. But a gap just over 2 seconds here between Mike and GGJ, and it's not coming down by anywhere near as much as it was. Now that the fresh tyres, the fresh wets have kind of worn off a little bit, and the fact that the rain has definitely dropped off, so the Inters are now starting to come back into their own here. Gap 1.4 seconds as we come out of the final corner here to start lap 35. And Mike still has a slender advantage, but GGJ is going to give it absolutely everything in here in the final 2 laps of the race. Mike on worn out intermediate tyres and GGJ on the fresh wets. But what a performance from Mike. Take nothing away from him whether he wins or whether he comes second here in tonight's Austrian Grand Prix here at Motive. He's put on an absolutely superb performance as he's just putting a lap there on the Ferrari at V10 Ultra. GGJ is going to move through in a moment, but Mike got a better run through turn 2 than GGJ did and just extended that gap ever so slightly here. But now probably Mike's going to be starting to shift his attention. Rather than pulling away, he's going to think, how can he defend this? Because GGJ has got those fresher tyres. He's lapping about a second a lap, just over a second a lap quicker than Mike. But with no DRS and tricky conditions, it's not going to be easy to overtake as long as Mike doesn't make a mistake here. I'll tell you what, this time around, Mike's actually pretty much been matching GGJ. So GGJ's not been gaining really anything at all over the course of this lap, as we're about to start the final lap here for the Austrian Grand Prix, as Mike here putting a lap on the McLaren of Totally Zero K, as he moves well out of the way, and Mike there moving through as he comes into turn 1 for the final time here in this race. The gap just about over a second here between Mike and GGJ. GGJ gained absolutely nothing on Mike on that last lap. The rain seems to have all but stopped. There's a little bit of drizzle going on, which means that the wet tyres are probably not really hanging in there very well now. And Mike's Inters, which has been on for 20 laps, are now starting to come back into their zone. We saw almost everybody put the wet tyres on, but Mike could have played an absolute strategic corker here on the intermediate tyres. Deciding to stay out, was the only driver in the entire pack who decided to stay out on the intermediate tyres and not put the wets on, and it proves that he may have made an absolutely inspired decision here with half a lap left to go here in this Austrian Grand Prix. What a decision, what a performance, what a debut here from Mike. As we come into towards the final few corners, we've got blue flags there being waved for Totally Zero K with GGJ behind him, but here comes the man of the moment. What a master plan here from Mike here tonight at Motive Racing. He's going to come out of the final corner, staying out on 20 lap old intermediate tyres in torrential rain. Mike takes the win here at the Red Bull Ring, but GGJ gets it on the penalties. Oh, no way, you couldn't make it up. So Mike there drove an absolutely fantastic race, but GGJ gets the win on the penalties. Mike second. Dem Specky comes over to complete the podium. As we can see, the Nuts are a long way behind. Oh, that's gutting there. Take nothing away from GGJ. I'm gutted because Mike really deserved that win with the job he did to keep those tyres in check, and just the fact that he went for a different call and almost made it work there. But sadly for him, the penalties proving to be the undoing of him. Nuts takes 4th ahead of Felix. Matty Pitt comes over to take P6 in the end. The Mark retired at the end on the last lap, so I'm not sure what happened there. So the Mark might be losing a few places here. Costas is coming out of the final corner, and it's going to be P7 here for Costas as he comes over. Little Greavy's going to come over in 7th, actually on the penalty, so Little Greavy 7th, Costas in 8th. That is that for tonight at Motive in the F1 League. Mike F1 there saying, it's Mike here, very beautiful commentary, guys. I have a feeling Mike may not be the Mike that races on Project Cars 2 there, but Mike, what a performance from yourself here tonight. Really impressed with you. What a job. Yeah, I think maybe he isn't the person I thought he is, but nonetheless, GGJ taking the win here in the Austrian Grand Prix here at Motive tonight. Mike in 2nd and the Nuts completing the podium. But guys, I want to say a big thank you to everybody who joined us. Thanks to Max for joining me earlier on. Shame he couldn't be with us for the whole race, but he joined me for half of the Grand Prix and for the whole of the sprint race. But yeah, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to join, be sure to go to www.motiveracing.com. Get involved in our Discord server, join any of our leagues. We've got F1, obviously, which we run on a Friday night. Maybe, but just maybe, we might have a chance to set up another league on F1, maybe a realistic league or something a bit different, or potentially a second tier, but I think we might be a long way off from that just at the moment. But certainly we need to run before we need to learn to walk before we can run. But yeah, join us for our leagues on ACC on the PS5 version, and also on Project Cars 2 on both the PS4 and the PS5, which we still have crossplay between those two gens for that particular game. But guys, thanks ever so much. We will see you in the next one. Make sure you join us next time out for the F1 League. We will be live at the same place, same time. I'll be on my lonesome for that one, sadly, because Max will not be around for that one. I'm just buying time here whilst I scroll down on the server, but I'm going to give up on that venture and use my phone because my computer seems to be having a complete and utter meltdown at the moment. So I'm just buying time here whilst I get the calendar up. We're going to be at We're gonna be at France. Paul Ricard for next week. So join us at the same time as always, 6:40 p.m. UK time. And also be sure to join us on Sunday night. We'll be live on ACC on the PlayStation 5 version for the GT3 Championship for both tiers, which will be live at 7 p.m. for Tier 2, and then Tier 1 will be at 8:30. Also, we'll be back on Project Cars 2 on Tuesday for the Clio Cup. Wednesday, we'll be back on ACC for the PS5 GT3 Sprint League. Touring Cars will join us on Project Cars 2 on Thursday night, and then back here again for F1 next Friday. But from all of us, it's a big thank you, and we'll see you later. Good night.